Yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. How are you guys doing? I see Dheeraj already from the Creative Music Lab platform. Welcome, dude. Awesome. So today we talk about our new song in medias res of my band AMEND. Yes, all good. How are you? Hey there. Nima, welcome as well. Manu, Anna, Masterclass. Awesome, man. Good to have you here. Yotish, also. Very cool to see. Yeah, I'm really stoked to dive into this. The song, the single, our first single actually, has been received pretty well. It's really awesome to see all the comments and people really liking the music of AMEND. So that really makes us feel really awesome. We worked hard on that, for a couple of years now, and now finally it's released. Of course, there are more singles coming, so I might do more masterclasses of those singles, probably together with Timo, the vocalist of AMEND as well. Timo is here today in the chat, so if you have any questions for Timo, you can also ask him directly in the chat. And yeah, he will collect some questions for me as well. So what I'm gonna do today, I'm gonna open the project in Cubase where I mixed the album as well, and I'm gonna show you the separate tracks of the song, like how it's arranged and the whole structure and the layering that is used in this song. So roughly for every song we have a different setup and different kind of layers and effects. So it's always cool to just zoom in on one song and see what's happening there, Okay, I will go through also some demos. We have a few demos of this song. Well, there are a lot of demos, but there are a few key demos where you can hear the very first ideas of this song, and I will explain how we combined those. And we roughly combined two different MP3s into one big song. And Timo, the vocalist of AMEND, he wrote actually the biggest part of this song. And together we just fine-tuned all the sounds and structured and arranged it. But he wrote a very big chunk of this song, so props to Timo for this one. Well, let's dive into it. Maybe it's cool to have the backstory about us and how we got to meet each other, Timo and me. I know Timo for a while. I actually coached him. He was my student back in 2016, I think, 2017. And I coached him on the Metal Factory back then. As a vocalist in groups, I did band coaching. So I knew him already, and then he graduated and I didn't see him for a while. And then in 2021 he came back to me, he sent me a message. He lived up in the north of Holland. He said, hey, I want to do some songwriting lessons with you. Back then it was COVID, so we had to do it through video calls, and he was also far away. So yeah, he came to me. We did some songwriting lessons. He showed me some demos and I helped him along the way to grow those demos. But shortly after that, I already saw like, hey, these songs are pretty cool, Timo. So I started thinking as well. And I was busy with my own music as well. I didn't have textures anymore. Textures stopped in 2017. So I was working on my own album as well. And the more I heard Timo's songs, I was thinking, hey, this is sort of the style I am working on as well. And then I started thinking even more like, hey, what if we combine our ideas and work together on something, it would be Timo's solo album or my solo album, but we could combine it And so that happened. I suggested it to Timo, and he was very much in for it. And shortly after that, we said, okay, let's just meet up. We're in one room together and see what happens. And then in very short, we had, like within 2, maybe 3 months, we had the biggest chunk of this album written in long sessions together in one room. Then it went really fast. So yeah, there was a chemistry, there was a click, musical click there. So that worked really well and fast. So that was really nice to work like that, refreshing for me as well. I'm always used to work with textures, of course, which is sort of a group of 6 producers. Everybody really wants to have his saying about everything in the music. But now it was just Timo and me wrote the biggest chunk. And Yuma and Robin, I know them for very long. I already knew that I wanted to do something with them on an album. So that happened as well. So that's the little backstory of Timo and me. So Timo wrote a lot of this as well. And together we arranged it and fine-tuned the sounds. That's how I see it. Now, okay, let's have a listen to those first demos. I've got them over here. So there are a lot of demos. I'm not gonna show them all because, yeah, then you're only listening to demos. But it's a nice thing to just skip through a few sections of the demos and hear the bigger parts of the demo that really reached the song in the end. So some of the parts, structure-wise, are literally the same as the very early demo as it ended up on the album. So let me see. The song In Medias Res has had multiple names, working titles. Absolution was one of them. Hell Synth was one of them. Nascent was one of them. But in the end, we chose for In Medias Res. So let's just skip through this. Absolution is really one of the earliest ones. And Timo is in the chat as well, as you might see. So ask him questions as well if you like. Absolution was one of the very first demos, and you hear when I play it, the very first half is not in the song, but from the end, I put a MIDI block over here. From there, a big chunk is used in the song. So I'll skip through the very first part so you hear a bit what the demo was back then. So this is, yeah, a part that's not really used, but roughly the beginning, if you look at that and if you zoom out, the characteristic of the beginning I liked a lot, you know, just one guitar, some guitar sounds, and then all of a sudden the whole band drops in. So that is the thing we kept, not this exact melody, but just that characteristic, the element of one guitar, and then boom, the whole band. And that drum fill is preserved. So I skip a bit through. because yeah, a lot of things are skipped, and but you hear already the quality of it. You know, you hear the drums. From here, for example, you hear that it morphs into all of a sudden into the song and the structure that you might know if you have heard the song in medias res. So that's exactly the same as the song. All right, until there. Hell synth, yeah, I see Anna talk about the Hell synth. And that's actually a preset of the Rabea Neural DSP plugin, which you hear very clearly over here in the final song. It's not this loud. But yeah, I really love that sound. So it's a sort of a guitar mixed with a synth in the Rabea guitar plugin. By the way, like all the sounds on this album are made with guitar or guitar plugins. So you never hear a synthesizer on this album. That was a bit my challenge for this album. Like, okay, I would just want to do everything with strings, you know, like guitar strings and bass strings. So yeah, this is something that goes on, and the whole structure is actually preserved. So you already hear it's structure-wise really exactly the same. The ending drum beat feels like a loop now in the demo, of course, and we really made Yuma go crazy there. So it also builds up in the drum layers. I will show you later on how the drums sound in this ending part. So from the demo to this, yeah, structure-wise, a lot is preserved. Now, this is the ending of the song. What about the beginning? That was from another MP3. So I'll show you a part of this one. The MP3 is called Hellsynth because that's used in the beginning as well. Let me show you. when Timo showed me this, I was really amazed by the cool sounds and the peacefulness. I told him, yeah, you really need to work on this and really use this for something, because this is powerful. So this is Timo playing guitar. And it's slower than the final version. And then so there you hear the song as it starts, also in the final version. Mix-wise, it's a bit all over the place. There's not a clear guitar, but when I heard this and Timo sent me this, I was like, yeah, I do hear it. I do hear the song in it. So together we worked on it and fine-tuned the sounds. Scroll a bit further, and then we go into the final mixing project, because yeah, there's more that is used from this demo. So we used actually the beginning of this demo, Hellsynth MP3, and the ending of Absolution.mp3, and combined that into a nice big whole. Let me see. Pre-chorus. So the pre-chorus has changed a bit in the chords, but the function is the same. The chords are being made more clear, but it's just as long, and it goes right into the chorus, which is pretty much the same. So Timo already put a lot of full chords in this with major 7 sounds, very clustered sounds. I really loved that, and yeah, took it also to the final version of the song. And this was not even with vocals, and already the chord progressions really spoke to me, and that's what I wanted to use. Drums, all the accents are pretty much there. We just edited that here and there, so it's a bit more. The accents are not repeated every 4 beats, but for example 8 beats or every 16 beats, you have a sort of drum repetition, which just stretches out the attention span a bit of the song. So yeah, that is the demo. Do you guys hear it, what I mean? Do you hear what I heard? Like, there is some quality, you know. Timo is not a guitar player, as he always says to me, but he can play very, very pretty good guitar. But he wrote this just with his guitar and recorded as good as he could. And then delivering that kind of stuff, yeah, really amazed me and convinced me to work with him, to set something up together instead of both working on our solo albums, you know. That's what happened. So, see if there's a bit more of this demo. Same. And the ending was sort of a throwback to the intro. So yeah, we cut it up, but big chunks of these demos are preserved and landed in the final thing. So, to the mixing project. As you might have heard, I mixed the whole thing, and mastering was done by my friend in Utrecht at Fine Tune Mastering. So I didn't do the mastering. I like to do have that done by someone else, so I can really focus on the mix itself. I'll show you, yeah, all the things in the mix today. Hey, Erky is here as well. Nice. So this is roughly how I always mix, and how I set up my mix. Actually, I have a lot of folders, and so I have, if I zoom out like this, I have everything in sight to work on, you know. Here's drums on the left, drums total. This is the bus for all the drum sounds, and I can solo the drums like this. While the drums is in a folder, all the tracks are here. So if I mix, I'm like, okay, this sounds good. Oh wait, something in the guitars is happening. Okay, I open up the guitar folder and dive in, and then close it up again when I'm done. So it gives me a lot of overview, and it's a nice way of working. So I have drums in the top, then bass, a few tracks over here, bass, bass, the guitar folder with quite some layers, but it's not that ridiculous in this song. Guitars total, bass, and vocals. There's quite a lot of layers, but there are songs where we even went more crazy than this. So we'll go through all of those. I have some mastering chain on it right now, so it's at least a bit loud. Yeah, let's go into it, right? Drums. I'll just show some soloed parts of how the drums sounding solo, right? Let's see. So, yeah, Sounding nice, right? I love the way Yuma drums, and I've worked with him for a long time. I studied music together with him since 2006. So yeah, I've known him for quite a while now. And we actually, yeah, we had a studio together. We did projects together, but we actually never did music together. We were always like, oh, we can jam a bit here and there, you know, in a rehearsal room or in our studio, but we never really recorded something. So it was bound to happen, and now it finally happened. So yeah, I really like the way he drums on this album. I really wanted a drummer that can make things sound big and with a bit of finesse and delicate fills and that kind of stuff, cymbal work. And yeah, Yuma is the man for this. What did I do on these drums? Yeah, I'm not going into all the tracks and all the EQ and all the compressor settings, but I can give you a rough indication of how I treat all the instruments. Just as with textures, what we've always done, I used all the acoustic tracks, and next to that I added a kick sample and added a snare sample. So you do hear the acoustic snare very much, but there's a sample for the hard hits that keeps the hard hits constant, you know. So if I just listen to the snare top, for example, the acoustic snare top, you hear a lot of details. And then, so in Cubase you can analyze the hits of the snare and then make MIDI notes of that, and then you can add a sample to that. So I added the snare of the P4 library, the Matt Halpern signature snare, and that's this one. So that took only the hard hits and not the ghost notes. So I kept the ghost notes in the acoustic snare, so you really hear those still, but the hard hits are there as well. So together it sounds like this. So that's only two snare tracks and a snare bottom track, but that's really soft. Add a bit of low end. So yeah, I like to work with that. A minimal amount of tracks. It's quite processed, but this way the clearness of the snare is there, but also the humanness of the snare is there. There's some bleed there. You hear the kick drum, you hear the hi-hat through next to the snare drum, but I'm not really scared of that. That makes it human, and it's always lower in the mix, in the total mix. So yeah, it really worked well for me. So that's how I treated the snare. Same for the kick. There's a snare, a kick sample, which is also from the P4 library. And I like my kicks super dry because that makes it a bit metal, you know. You can use the room of a kick, but the room of the kick is already in the room microphones, of course. This is the room microphone. Sorry. So there is already an extra body, but also in the overheads there is a bit of spill of the kick drum, of course. And that's fine. That makes it human as well, and it gives a natural body to your kick drum. So the kick drum sample is just something to make it really steady and having it very clear throughout the whole song, throughout the whole album. Whether there's just one guitar on top of it or 10 guitars and a bass guitar with distortion. It should always have the same punch. So yeah, that's kick and snare. Are there other stuff that I can show for this. I always clean up the tracks manually, so the toms are cleaned up only with the tom hits. You hear them, same as the hi-hat. You only hear it when it's played, and next to that it's just cut away over here, for example. The first time. So it's very much isolated and very clear. You can process it like that. Okay, then I used two overheads, left and right, but also an overhead in the center we used to give a nice overview on all the overhead symbols. Let's see. So it's like, I see a question, the sampling to make it stable is also to make it more consistent to listen to. Yes. Or is it so it seems cleaner as a record? Well, it's just to make it consistent, yes. And to have one sound present that is audible on every place that you listen to the music. You know, if you listen to it on the phone, whoever listens to good music on the phone, but whatever, if you listen to it on a phone, you want to hear the kick drum all the time. You know, it should not be pushed away by tens of layers of guitars and bass or whatever. It should be there. So a sample that is always the same really helps with that. Acoustic kick might be a bit softer sometimes. You hear sometimes he has a double kick, da-dum, da-dum. That's nice to keep, but you want the loud one to be just as loud as the other kicks. Da-dum. So that's a good way of securing that it's always audible, because you want to have that punch on especially on the heavy parts. Okay, rooms. I processed the rooms with some distortion from Sound Toys, Devil Lock. Very, very nice to always use. Gives a more dark vibe to it. Cool, Anna. You're welcome. And then drums total, I also have a sort of limiting on the total bus of the drums. So that is roughly how I treat it. Of course, I can go very much into detail, but I think this is the most characteristic things of the drums that I keep in mind while mixing. Let's go over to the bass guitar. Robin Zielhorst. As some of you might know, Robin plays fretless bass. Well, I think he's a fretless bass specialist. Of course, he can play normal bass as well. And we have used both basses on the album. In this song, we used mostly the fretless. So that was a challenge for me to mix with, because I'm not used to mix with fretless, and I want to make it sound heavy, you know, and a fretless bass is mostly mixed super clean. So what we tried is to put distortion on a fretless bass, and so we did. So when you solo it doesn't sound optimal. It doesn't sound too nice, I must say, but in the mix it really works. So I used it for the heavy parts. I used the same DI of the fretless, but put distortion on that. A dark-glass pedal in this case. And we also used different pedals of Robin. He had some distortion, he had some fuzz, some sub-bass pedal. Really cool pedals he had with him. So for the really extreme parts, we added some extra stomp boxes to create more extreme sounds. But this is the bass, for example, in the beginning. So this is a clean DI, well, the clean bass sound and a distorted bass sound of the fretless bass. So that was, I thought it was really hard to make that sound and to make it into something coherent. I mixed with the clean sound for a while, for a couple of days, like, okay, it's doable, but the heavy part, especially this, it's just a high gain guitar part. Really want some crunch for the bass, because then it adds to the low end of the guitars. And after that is this part with the fretless bass, and there he got the chance to sound clean, because there's space for it, and there need to be space for the vocals. I open my eyes. So yeah, that's that. After that, there's distortion again. So yeah, it was a very big quest to find a sort of distortion setting for the fretless bass. It's a bit uncommon to put distortion on it, but yeah, we did it, and Robin was happy with it too. So, and in the end, of course, the ending part of the song is very extreme. So we did something with his pedal park. He has a fuzz pedal, and we added some really just distorted fuzz sounds there. In the color red here. So yeah, that happened as well. There's also fuzz on the guitar, so there's a lot happening on that ending part. But yeah, we just had to take the bass sound to a next level there, also. So that is bass. Let's go over to the guitars. There's a lot happening there as well. Well, I see a lot of comments like, wow, all guitar layers, and it sounds super cool, but the amount of layers is not that much. I just made the sound, make the guitar sound as wide as possible whenever there's some effects going on. So it feels like big layers or synths or something. So yeah, that was a bit the goal as well. In the beginning there is, yeah, who can guess what this sound is? Who knows? What is this? Hint, it's not a synth. Does anybody know? No? It's a very distinct sound if you once played with it with guitar. But yeah, I've never actually used it. Also, neither with textures, as far as I know. No. But there was a cool thing to try things out with, and that's just this. Doesn't matter with which sound you do it. This is a bit distorted sound. This is a normal reverb, but on this one, the Big Sky, which I used a lot on the AMEND album, there is a... Is it the Hell Synth? Sustainiac? No, not even. It is a freeze function. So, there's no sound. It's just the pedal. So, it takes a fragment of the chord I just played and it glues that as one sound infinitely. So I can do it with any chord. You know. So that's the sound I just really like and wanted to use on an album. It's simple, but it's sort of yeah, it feels like a synth. The good gadgets, he got us. A sustain pedal that never runs out of breath. Yeah, you can see it like that. So that's the first layer that you hear. Yeah, actually the first sound that you hear on the album. And then there's one more sound. This one. Crank it up. And that's indeed the Hell Synth. And that is played with a sustainiac, so the notes are sustained as well. So yeah, this is the Hell Synth layer, and there is one more layer over here. So we had the freeze function, the red one. The Hell Synth is this one. This one is a very much filtered guitar with a tape echo delay. So it's very raw. You don't really hear a clear delay. You don't hear the rhythm of the delay that clear. And it has a lot of yeah, grit, a little sort of distortion into the tape. And next to that, of course, the main line with the clean guitars is this. Now, those are pretty clear to hear. This is also with the sustainiac that is built into this guitar, so the notes are very much stretched out. They ring out longer than you would expect, and it adds a sort of extra layer below it. Of course, there are some delay and some reverb, which gives it more warmth as well. But yeah, in the end, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 layers. And for example, when we're gonna play this live, and we're gonna play it live, we only choose 2 of these and just play with those. So the background layers are yeah, just for the album. Well, the freeze layer, of course, I can do that live as well with the Quad Cortex. Okay, so that is the layers from the beginning. Let's see what I what are cool layers to show you? Well, the riffing sounds, the high gain guitars are mostly layered. I will show you, yeah, the high gain stuff, which I did with a 5150 from my Quad Cortex, and that sounds like this. Something like that. And in the heavier parts or the more open parts, I added layers to that. So it's like an extra layer, but not with a new guitar part, but just as a sonic improvement to make the sound wider. The same kind of notes, but to make it bigger. I will show you that. For example, from here, there's more happening. This is the 5150, which I turned down a bit in the blocks over there. This is more like a rock part, so the 5150 is lower in the mix here. There's a JCM 800 from the Quad Cortex, which helps with the thickness. And another layer with the Telecaster, which you see behind me there, which is, I think, in this kind of parts, it's the main character, you know, it's in the spotlight. And that is more clear to my ears. It's low gain sounds, more like rock, very twangy. You hear the strings more and not too much distortion. And together it makes a nice wall of guitars. And next to that, there is another layer of a lead sound. Nice and dissonant, and it adds to the whole thing as well, of course, to make even bigger wall. So yeah, that is the wall of sound from that part, with especially the high gain guitars. The other high gain part is of course the ending part, which is this. Let's analyze that. There is the normal 5150 playing this riff. So see, mostly this riff is single note riff. There are a few parts there you hear two strings at the same time, but mostly it's one note riff. And I wanted to fatten that up, and I did that with the JCM 800, which is a trick we did with textures a lot as well, to make riffs sound fatter, but not adding too much extra notes. So you hear the same root note, but there is a fourth below, the fourth interval below that root note, which gives a sort of a resonating vibe, like there is a room guitar mic somewhere. I'll show you with the normal 5150 and that kind of thickener. So you still hear the one note riff, but there's something behind that one note riff, like whoa, whoa, that makes it very heavy. If I turn it off, the riff sounds much thinner. And with so that really helps. It's always a cool trick. Just have to find a nice, in this case, JCM 800 sound and play the same riff but with a fourth below it. Of course, we thought, okay, this is heavy, but it can be more heavy. So we pulled out the Rabea Neural DSP plugin and found this sound. Oh, it's low. So that is a sort of a HM2 sound, like the old school death metal sound. But yeah, I thought it would fit pretty nicely with these guitars. It should be ridiculous. It should be extreme. Just like the ending of the song. And yeah, it really works. I didn't mix it so loud because it's so ridiculous sound. You don't want to sound death metal right away when you stomp on this pedal, but yeah, it's pretty loud in the mix. But so yeah, that is added, and of course there next to that is also the bass doing ridiculous stuff. So there's a lot of crunch in the ending part, and that was very tough to mix as well, you know. But yeah, I think it worked pretty well, and we made it work. So that is mostly the high gain guitar stuff, which is green in this case. Then there is some low gain stuff and lead stuff of the guitars. Let's go into that. Let's see over here. Yeah, so that sound is for me a bit something new. Of course, with textures I do a lot of stuff with delays and with octaves like this, but not in this way. So what I do with textures a lot is to grab an octave and just do alternate picking, you know, all the time, just like that. Now on a lot of AMEND stuff I chose to do more with delays. Do you record the guitars with effects? Yes, I did a lot just like this from my quad cortex. Make sure the tempo is right and synced to the project. Then I record with delays as well. Also even with reverb and that kind of stuff. And if after that I think, oh, should be a bit more reverb, I just add another reverb bus. I'm not too scared of that either. It brings a special sound mostly in the end, and as long as it doesn't make it unclear, which I've never really had. So yeah, I just want to record with what I hear and what I fine-tune while recording. and only shape it to mix with it. And when I'm mixing, I'm just adjusting it, you know, or a little EQ adjustment there, or a little compression for some peaks. So not big sound changes. But yeah, what I'm doing with the lead with AMEND a lot, it's good with this one as well, is just doing downstrokes. So the 8th notes instead of 16th note. No, just 8th notes, and then try to make it a really steady sound, so it sounds like da 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 da, like 16th note. So that delay is just as loud as my picking sound, and with that, yeah, it really feels like there's a guitarist doing this, but it's just actually the downstrokes. And this way you have more space for the delay, which gives more, yeah, you have more space in the mix, because you hear mostly delays instead of hits with the guitar pick. Then, of course, there's the delay part under the verse. And that's, of course, yeah, something I've used before. Dotted 8th note delay. Always nice to be playing with that. Same kind of effect, a bit slower in this case. But I didn't want to stick to just one chord, and then you heard in the demo of Timo, he did something like you know, with 2 notes being busy or at the same time. So I've found a sort of part that interchanges the accents. It's a sort of paradiddle. The left, right, left, right, right, left, right, right. And interchange that with the delay. And that gives a nice, yeah, nice movement, and you don't really hear right away what is the pattern of the delay and of the guitar that's being played. So it keeps being a bit mysterious instead of, oh, that's a kind of U2 part or something. So later on, when you have the second verse, I added a octave to that, just to have the second verse have a bit more energy. So it's actually the same part, but just an octave higher. So it feels like a sort of transience of the guitar instead of another guitarist who plays another part, you know. And next to that, there's the huge reverb guitar, which is a thing I've never really played with like this. But I like it because, especially in this kind of empty verses, there's a lot of place for heavy effects or for vocals in this case. So that's behind the verse.
Beliefs, immutable
So that's a nice, yeah, really ambient part. Not too difficult even, just a nice melody to keep you focused as a listener and not too distracted from the vocals. Yeah, so that's the low gain guitar layers for the beginning. Then you have the exaggerated break at the bridge of the song, which is this. There it is again, the hell synth. In this case, a static note. Sounds super cool. And this one. So this is something that Timo told me. Of course, Timo was a student of me for a while, and he also learned some of my exercises back then. And maybe some of the guys know the exercise that he referred to. My exercise is called the Matrix, and it's a sort of rhythmical exercise where you switch the accent from the 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2. So he implemented that on this part, and yeah, I just thought it was a cool strumming pattern, you know, a cool little arpeggio. But in the end, yeah, it's a sort of a melodic matrix in this case. So you have this. Oh, I'll use a clean sound. This. Two. Three. So yeah, that's a cool thing. He implemented that. The melodic rhythm exercise. Melodic rhythm. Yeah, the rhythm exercise, but then made it melodic. Cool. Below that is, of course, some acoustic or fretless bass. We didn't spotlight that actually, which I really like because it's so subtle. Right from here. So there's, it's a fretless bass, but I kept it on the distortion channel actually, just to give it that little raw edge, because there's also that, yeah, there's a lot of layers going on and it should really pinch through. And there's the hell synth below, there he is again. But there's some cool stuff here going on. There is two guitars which have a sort of eerie part, and we doubled that with two, well, in the end, 4 vocal lines. So that makes it super eerie. I will just solo those because I think, yeah, that really turned out really great and spooky. So this is just the guitars which is a bottleneck, you know, a slide on the guitar to grab those notes with the sustainiac. Arpeggio below it. So that's already pretty cool part, I think. Sort of a little melody of two guitars who sort of play together in different places. And we try to, sort of copy that with vocals. I'll just solo only that little choir of Timo, see how that sounds, and then see how it sounds with guitar and vocals together. Spooky, right? I really love that part. So that is below his vocal line, the part that he sings the lyrics. But let's see how that is with the guitars itself. Halloween in summer. You walk into Rivendell. Yeah. So yeah, that is what makes this part extra spooky, I think. In the beginning, it was not super clear in the demo. Like, okay, the main vocal melody was super clear, like, okay, that is it. I think even the lyrics were already like this, so it was like, all right, those lyrics are perfect, keep those, don't touch anything. But the layers could be fine-tuned, and yeah, we did this. So next to the main vocal lines, it sounds like this. And as I step out from the darkness into the unforgiving light, trying to go on, I'm washed by cleansing rain. And as I open my eyes, I see, I see. Iced tea. He likes iced tea a lot. Told him, like, don't sing iced tea, I see. No, he kept saying iced tea. I guess he was warm. But the vocal took a lot of takes. No, this one not that much. Of course, he had some retakes, but as I said, the demo, I will scroll through it very short. You hear how it is on the demo. Something around here. Into the unforgiving light, trying to go on, wash the cleansing rain. As I open my eyes, I see, So that when a demo is that good, or you have a vocal line that early in the process, then it's way more easy to record it. So yeah, we did some extra takes, but didn't take that long to record this. With everything with Timo, I must say, he's a great studio beast, incredibly precise, but also incredibly how do you say it? It's easy to direct him somewhere else. Like, can you try this? Or can you try that? Okay, well, let's stick to that. Okay, he's really great to work with, and that makes it possible to experiment in a session, even if you're, you need to finish the track on that day. No, experiment a bit, or try this a bit, try that a bit, or maybe one note up. So he's not really stuck to that vocal line or that note, which some singers have. So yeah, that really worked great and fast as well. So those are the layers of the bridge. So that was also a little peek already into the vocal layers. But I can solo a bit more of the vocals, and then we have seen all the layers about then. So in the biggest parts, we sometimes chose to have just one vocal line. For example, the verse.
I open my eyes for the first time. My blindfold's undone. I see the path I've walked without.
In some songs, we doubled the vocals, then you have a bit more wide sound. Sometimes it's nice to have really a single vocal and just put all your effort in making that sound as good as possible. And also next to that, if you double it or triple it, or add more layers in a chorus next to that single line, then the chorus will sound more wide. So here is the pre-chorus, already extra layers.
And I scream out, afraid, one voice of many, but I'm alive. I have fallen, now I rise. Take my essence and my name. I fall into the deepest reaches and stop my breathing.
That's a strong melody. I still love it, and I like it that it's just this part is the main line. I'll turn this off. It's just the same line, but the top one is loud in the mix and the bottom one is softer in the mix, just to add the fullness.
Take my essence and my name. I fall into the deepest reaches and stop my breathing.
So this is sung 2 times and exactly the same. You can see it in the length and the peaks of the files. All the words are the same length. We really worked hard on that. You can edit it, but you can also say, yeah, just redo it and do as good as possible, timing wise.
I take my essence and my name. I fall into the deepest reaches.
And that works as a sort of a natural chorus to me. You can add a chorus to the main line, then it feels more wide, but you can also just sing exactly the same line, the same melody, and then it will feel fuller in a natural way. So next to that, he sung the second line, which is just a harmony, It's not a whole choir, it's just a main line and one second line, which is not, for example, it's not a third on top all the time. It's just a second line, which sounds nice in a harmony with the main line.
Take my essence and my name. I fall into the deep end. voice reaches.
So we did a lot a sixth interval below it, which makes it nice and full. Yeah, so that is mostly the pre-chorus and the chorus. And yeah, then we have some ending screams, which we just looked at the bridge with the special layers together with the guitars. And let's have a look at the screams layers, because we did something extra there. Vocal main does this.
I say,
And the second line.
I say.
So it's a different take, but almost the same. And on the left and right, we added just for the freakiness, you know.
I say.
Cool. I see some questions. Let me see. Yeah, we used the Shure SM7B to record all the vocals. Timo just answered it. Thank you, Timo. In the end, I will answer some more questions as well. So if you have some, let me know. So I'm just going to go through the last vocals, and then there will be a short Q&A for anyone who has some more questions for me or for Timo or for the band, you know. Let's see the ending screams. Those are, well, just 2 layers, not too much, not too crazy.
Thy search for absolution. Thy search for absolution.
That was one where Timo almost fainted, but he didn't faint. Yes, okay guys. Yeah, I think that's the most that I wanted to talk about. Just have a look at all the layers. Of course you can hear a lot in the song, but it's also nice to hear them separate. So the next time you hear the song, it's like, oh yeah, that is that. Oh yeah, that in the background is that. I'm thinking, did I forgot something? Oh, this is mostly it. So, cool guys. Thank you. Now there's time for some extra questions. Timo already answered a bit of those. But let me know if you have a bit more questions. That's one long crunchy distortion. Yeah. And on those vocals are, let me see. Yeah, the chain on top of that, it's not even extra distortion. So all the grit you hear in Timo's vocal, yes, is actually the grit from his vocal. I didn't add any distortion in this track. In some of the other tracks I have some saturation or distortion added as an effect, but this is pretty clean, and there's only a lot of EQing and limiting and compression going on, but no distortion. What was my biggest challenge on this track or this album? Well, I've mentioned it in the beginning, the working with fretless guitar was fretless bass guitar was a challenge for me. It's a fun challenge because I know it's solvable, you know. But I had a hard time finding the right sound that matches the 7-string guitar, you know. If you go for clean fretless bass, then it always works, but then it really feels like, oh, it's that band with the super clean bass guitar on top of it. But I want it to be a part of the guitar wall where you just hear mostly a normal bass, but here and there some delicate slides or some extra things happening with the bass. And that's exactly what we catched, I think. And yeah, the distortion with the bass, that was a big surge, a bigger surge than I would have had expected. And next to that, yeah, I've thought about like, okay, I want to do everything with guitar sounds and guitar effects. So that's the challenge. But I've had moments like, maybe I should add a synth here. You know, I was like, yeah, can be cool with synths here, but okay, let's keep doing just guitar effects and then work with that. So I'm happy I went with that because now it's something, yeah, really, really special to me. It's like, okay, I can use my guitar for all this kind of sounds. Of course, with synths you can do so much. So I'm sort of limited myself and try to make it sonically as wide and as diverse as possible. That was the challenge. And yeah, of course, a challenge can be hard. I really had to search sometimes for new sounds or to really shape it in the way I wanted. But yeah, I liked the way how it turned out. Cool. Anna has another question. I know you're all sneaky with not giving away the albums, what the album is about and what's next to come. But can I ask how you guys, as professional musicians, you feel about what you made? When will we hear more about the next release? Well, there will be news about that soon, and the second single will be pretty soon, I can say. So how do I feel about what I made? Well, for me, this was a very personal album. You know, for textures, I have a sort of routine now. Textures is around now since 2000, 2001, so almost 26 years, 25 years. So that feels like a sort of routine, and we have our way, and I know that chemistry, but this was like something new, and it started for me like I want to make something for myself, and I found Timo to really cooperate or collaborate with that and do something together, and we both took that to a next level. But it feels much more as something from myself. I could add a lot of my guitar things into this album in a different way that I do with textures, for example. So yeah, it still feels like a solo album to me, but with a nice collaboration which took it even more next level than I would have expected. So yeah, it feels really good, this album to me. Timo, I don't know how you feel about that, but maybe you can type that as well, or Timo can explain it in maybe the next masterclass, which we might do together just over here, you know. Okay, more questions. What part of the song you hit the more for both of you? It's a bit the same kind of question. Well, the chorus of this song I really like, and that's mainly Timo who wrote that. Yeah, I'm sort of feel honored that I can make the sounds thick below that vocal line, you know. So that feels like something like, okay, it's something from Timo, and I can do my thing below that, and together it sounds like, wow, something new for me and probably for Timo as well. Like, okay, together what we do, it sounds next level. And of course, also with what Yuma and Robin did with it, giving that much energy to it. Compared to the demo, it's like way out there, you know, in quality and in energy. So that, yeah, really feels good. So the chorus really stands out for this song, the pre-chorus and the chorus, and that's why I think we both decided like, oh, this should be a song, this should be a single, maybe the first single that we ever showed to the world, you know, because of that strong pre-chorus and chorus. Cool. Another question: Does finishing this album also give you inspiration to continue this style? Yeah, for me it does. I know that Timo is a fan of adding more electronic sounds, maybe not with guitar, so we have to fight about that. But even if that happens, it's not that big a deal, you know. So I'm not saying it's not possible, but the whole style, I really like it, and we still have a lot of demos laying around in this style. Sometimes I listen back in that folder. I'm like, yeah, this could be a song as well. It's still very cool. It has a cool touch. So I want to dive into those old ideas as well and pimp them until we have sort of this style and that it feels refreshing for ourselves. But I also know that if we sit together and write something new, something cool might come out. So, but yeah, I'm already very happy with this style. It feels fresh to me. It feels really heavy. It feels almost like it could be like grunge, but it's also metal. It's very melodic, but it's also very dark and heavy. That's all the things that I wanted it to be. So, and it's diverse, you know. That's what I always want music to be. Okay. Manu Bugar. Who did the video visual? Oh, Timo already answered the personal question. Timo added a lot of personal experience to this music. Yeah, he wrote a lot of the lyrics as well, and that yeah, it's just very personal. You know, it's not like an obligation, like, oh, we need to have lyrics. No, Timo needs to write things down, and by coincidence, we can use that as lyrics, and then it feels much more personal. The video visual is Anouk. What's her full name, Timo? I only have her in WhatsApp with Anouk. That's a girl that Timo knows very well, and she did a lot for us. A big hands up for Anouk for helping us with this launch as well, for the visual, but also helping us with the socials and all the design and making us look good in how we present ourselves, you know. She really helps with that. We're just musicians, and we need a sort of a push from that kind of side, and she has surprised us very much, like, okay, this looks really, really nice, and it's looks the way that we want, you know. Anouk Somers, yes. And the artwork is someone else from Czech Republic, also someone that Timo brought in. Is done by Lenore Annie from Annie Artworks. Yes, that's the name. Yeah, super great artwork. It's dark, it's mysterious, and it's not too dark. It's not like metal, like skulls or really darkness, so I really like that. There's a sort of a dark vibe in the whole album, but there's also sort of a hopeful vibe or sort of good energy to move on, even if you have a hard time in your life. So that the artworks breathe that as well, in my opinion. Cool, guys. It's really ethereal, but indeed without being straight away gruesome or morbid. Yeah, that's a nice way to describe it, Anna. When do you plan to make some live shows? Yeah, we're working on that. We're talking to some people here in Holland, but also more people that maybe can make things happen in Europe. So yeah, keep an eye on the socials to see more about that. How we're gonna play this kind of tracks live. Everything is playable. As you saw, there's not too much extra layers. So there's layers that we can leave behind, and then you don't really notice that in a live situation. And my plan is still to also do some things with looping on the quad cortex, or with the freeze function, for example. Then you have an extra layer as well, you know. So that kind of stuff is all solvable. And yeah, we're just gonna do this like this live, and Timo is gonna play guitar and sing at the same time. And there might be parts that Timo doesn't need to play guitar because it's just one guitar part, and then he can put his guitar away or hang it behind him, you know. So yeah, that's something that can make the show a bit special as well, and diverse. Cool. All right, guys. I think that is it. That was 1.5 hour deep dive of In Medias Res from the album Eclosion of my band AMEND. Timo, thank you for being here, and every one of you, thank you for hopping by. Yes, no problem. Cool. This will be available on my platform and for a while on YouTube to watch back. So yeah, enjoy that. And yeah, you can look forward to a next masterclass from me, and probably Timo will join me for the next song. There will be a few singles and then the album will be released. Come to play in Paris. Yeah, I hope so. We're working on shows for sure. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and have a good time. See you.